Hey YouTube, it's Anna. Welcome back, and I am about to do part 2 of my England trip journal flip through. So if you haven't seen my previous video, I will try to link that down below. That was when I did a flip through of our first week in England, which was Manchester and a few other places, and that was this journal insert here, number 50. And then number 51 is this insert with the Pan American Airways system insert. As you can see, I kind of kept like a Pan Am theme for this trip. And if you haven't watched my video, the previous one, this was a trip that I took back last September, and I'm a little late posting it, but I thought that since it's still, you know, vacation time, if you want some ideas for how to fill your travel journal or ways to decorate your journal once you get back, to recap, you might find some neat tips and tricks. So 50 was last that first week, and then the second week was in London, and then we also went to Bath and Blenheim Palace. I did not pre-decorate this insert like I did the first one. I brought this as a backup, knowing myself that I tend to fill my journals up with every single detail that I can think of to really capture my favorite memories of my favorite place, my favorite country, my home away from home. And this was my second trip, so I was very lucky in having a more leisurely week there. I was not caught up in doing too many touristy things. We were able to just sit in a cafe and just enjoy coffee or tea and just journal, or go back to the apartment that we rented for the week and just watch TV like a regular person and just journal and relax. So that was really cool. So getting into it before I get too rambly, this was a gridded insert. Like all my journal inserts, I do have an art sticker in the front, which I did add prior to. That was the only decorating that I did. Everything else that I added was while we were there, and I had just little bits and things lying around. So I've added some journal cards, some journal themed things. Oh, this was the apartment that we stayed at. And then I added a tube map. I love adding maps to my journal when I can. I made a list of all the groceries that we picked up when we were there, since we rented a hotel, or I mean an apartment. You'll see a lot of added tip-ins of photos that I printed after we got back. So those will be kind of just added here and there. So it might look a little chaotic, which is my usual way of journaling anyway. Train ticket information that we printed out prior to, and I've added photos, so I've utilized a lot of the blank space as well, so I wasn't adding too much bulk into the journal. We got cornettos because that was a very Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movie thing, if you watch those movies. I love adding beer labels from the beer that my husband drinks. I'll just take that off. I really don't care if people at the restaurants think I'm a little weird. I did make a list of possible places that we wanted to go this time around. Oh, Blenheim should be crossed off. So I kind of kept that information. I wrote down the numbers, what time they were open. I'm a researcher when it comes to traveling, so I love having all of that planned out. So if or when we do it, I have the information. I don't have to bother looking up that on my phone and wasting my data or using up my battery. We did go to Fortnum and Mason, and they had this there. I think it's for their app. I just grabbed it because that's one of my favorite places to go when we're in England. It's my favorite place to get tea, so I got that in there. Some more tip-ins. This is packaging from a set of tea that I got at Fortnum and Mason. That is a great way for you to save the pretty packaging if you don't want to carry that bulk home. For me, it was, I had enough things in my suitcase. We only went with a tiny carry-on suitcase and a carry-on bag each. So we traveled very light this time. And so I ripped up the packaging and I kept that in there so I could keep that as a memento but not have to carry the whole box. We went to Reckless Records. My husband likes going there to look at vinyl because he collects that. Lots of tip-ins. When we were in Bath, this label kind of came off a little wonky, but I actually liked how it ended up. So that was cool. Jane Austen Festival was going on when we were in Bath, so that was really fun. I'm a huge Jane Austen fan. She is my spirit writer. She's my favorite. I love her books. I've reread them several times. So I do utilize, oh, they're stuck. I do utilize the clear pockets by the Traveler's Notebook Company. They do tend to stick, but they're archival as far as I know. So they don't take away too much. Oh, they did stick, darn. Kind of ripped off the, okay, well that wasn't very good advertising for it, was it? Well, I do like to utilize the clear pockets for keeping tickets, so I guess just know that when you initially put them in, it does take off some of the color off your tickets and such. Oh, darn. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen, guys. I didn't know that. I thought there were more archival. Guess not. Pictures. They had golden syrup Quaker oats, so we tried that. That was me in front of the Jane Austen Center. The first time we went to Bath, we went on a tour that went to Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, and Bath. And we only had 45 minutes in Bath City Center, which was not enough time to see anything. We were 1 block away from the Royal Crescent, and I was heartbroken that first time because I could not make it. If you're a Jane Austen fan, you know the significance of the Royal Crescent, and so that was my priority for going this time around, and we made it. And that's me looking triumphant and happy because I was like, yes, we finally made it after 2 years. We went to the Roman baths, so I cut up the bag from, I think I bought a postcard there, and I put the ticket there, so utilize the packaging. I think that's a great way for you to remember it, and it adds a nice background to it, and like I said, you don't have to carry the packaging home. We did have tea at the Jane Austen Center, so this is from the brochure, a picture of Darcy in the afternoon tea. I ripped up the map to show where we were. And then that's my own photo of Mr. Darcy. And this is a huge brochure that I didn't want to cut up, so I kept that intact and folded it up. More pockets. So I guess know that if you use these kinds of clear pockets from the Traveler's Notebook brand, anything that's paper will not stick. But anything that has like a glossy finish or slightly shinier plasticky finish will stick, because this seems to pull out okay. And so I've just got several different things from that day. I bought a little Jellycat bunny in Bath, so I kept the tag and I put in some photos. This is, let's see here. This is kind of out of order because I was trying to find room to tip in things. We went to Sally Lunn's, which is Bath's oldest restaurant, I think. And that was pretty good. And this was us sitting in the exact same bench that we sat in on our honeymoon, facing the same exact cathedral. So, good memories. Back in London on this day, we went to JP London Books, where I got a few things, and that's from one of the scissors, like little mini fold-out scissors. And then we went to ramen right after, so that was the little plastic wrapping for the wet wipe that they gave you. And then we went to Muji, which was down the street from where we were staying in London. We stayed like a couple blocks away from Sloane Square, so that was really nice. More tipped in photos. I love utilizing tea bags as pockets, so I've got photos that I couldn't fit in anywhere, and a package of some of the coffee that my husband got. Books, a toy store that we went to in Covent Garden, and we did have a snack in Covent Garden, so I took the napkin and ripped that up and added that to it. Adds a nice textural thing for you to kind of flip through in the journal. And this was from one of the Eric Snook's toy store brochures that I grabbed. Even if you're not actually seeing the exhibit, like as an example, I did not see the Audrey Hepburn exhibit. I really did want to, but I don't think I wanted to pay, or yeah, I think it was like an extra admission to see it. And we were kind of short on time, so I decided to skip it. But I decided to grab the brochure anyway, because I love her. And kind of shows what's going on in the city while you're there, even if you haven't seen it. I did end up buying a couple postcards, so I ripped up the bag and added that. Oh, in case you're wondering, these London-themed stickers are actually from Satelier. I think that's how you pronounce it. If you search Satelier London stickers on Etsy, you'll find these. They're pretty cute. I love them. They come 2 sheets in a set. Here's a fun story. So we were on our way to Blenheim. We were short on time, so we had to pretty much grab breakfast from our mini fridge in the apartment. And I grabbed this Bircher muesli, and then I realized that I did not have any utensils on me, right? And so what did I do at the train station? I grabbed 2 of these little stir sticks from one of the cafes there, and I used it chopstick-wise, or chopstick-like, to eat my muesli. So I thought that was such a fun, quirky memory that I decided to keep the little stir sticks and the wrapper. And I journaled about that on the train ride there to Blenheim Palace. And this was on our way back from the train station. I think we stopped at Covent Garden or something. Or maybe this was the next day, I'm not sure. But My Burberry had a pop-up store going where they were trying to promote their My Burberry new perfume, and they had these sprayed with that perfume. They were putting it on the women's wrists, and I loved it so much that my husband that Christmas got it for me. So it actually still kind of smells like it, which is really fun. And that's actually a great thing for you to add to your journal. Go to a store, go to a department store, and find one of those perfume ribbons, or maybe one of those those long paper strips that they always give you to spray the perfume in. Find a perfume that you really like, or a cologne, and spray it, and then put it into your journal, because it'll actually make your journal smell really nice. I think it was this one where we stopped at, in Manchester, we stopped at a Penhaligon's, and I have a piece of cologne, here it is, this right here, sprayed with one of the Penhaligon's perfumes, and it still smells like that perfume to this day. So every time I smell it, I think of Manchester and our trip to England, and I love it. So there's a tip for you to kind of add to the senses. So you've got something textural, you've got something visual, and you've got something that appeals to your nose. At Blenheim, when we were walking around the gardens, they had these, I think they're duck feathers. I don't really know, but they had some just kind of floating around on the grass, and I sprayed them up with sanitizer before I picked it up. But I thought that would be a fun little thing to add to my journal. Some more photos. I think this was from a drink. More feathers. We did eat at the cafe at Blenheim Palace, so I ripped up the labels. More tickets, which I'm sure sadly will stick. I think I'll just have to go back in and just play around with them to loosen it. Our tickets on the train from going to and from Blenheim. The brochures actually fit perfectly on the page without me having to actually cut them off, so that was great, and I was able to add that in there. And then this is the next day. We went for a dinner at Obike. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a mozzarella bar. I highly recommend this place. It is delicious. Lottery packet, sugar packet from Covent Garden, tea bag, tags. Oh, I'll put these back. And then we tried out the Cadbury hot chocolate instant packets. Those were tasty. Plane tickets, and this is pretty much on our way back. They served Bath crackers, and airline luggage tags. This was from a pewter flask that my husband got from Kensington Garden. More Tipton photos. The bag I cut up from the Fortnum and Mason purchase. I already saved a bag from our honeymoon, so it wasn't really important for me to save the whole thing this time around. So I decided to add that there. The bag from a Blenheim Palace purchase. And then the rest are just me adding in photos after I got back and after I printed them. And I went in and maybe added some details. This was customs information that I think filled out wrong, so I just kept it and added it there. More brochures. I think that was from Blenheim. Yeah. So, and then I always try to keep a tube map with. This was one that I think I carried around in my handbag. And that's it, guys. That is my very packed week in London when we went. And I hope that gave you some journaling ideas for if you're planning on a trip soon, or maybe just recapping a few things that you forgot or didn't have time to take down while you were on vacation and you're just catching up on now. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know if you guys are interested in more journal flips. I was actually thinking about maybe going into my journal archives and just picking out a random one and maybe just walking you through it, showing you some of the elements that I had, maybe showing you the evolution of my journaling. I thought that might be fun. But I wanted to share these for sure because I love reliving my memories to England because it's my favorite place. And let me know if you guys are planning a trip yourself. Some of you guys shared your stories in my last video, and that's really exciting. I think travel journaling is one of the best things on earth. Travel itself opens your mind up, and it inspires you and motivates you, and I don't know, it takes you back to a time of like old explorers just writing things down, and it kind of takes you into this very analog handwritten mode, you know, I mean, because everything is on social media these days and you can share everything, but there's something very tactile and great when you get it down on paper and you have something physical to look back on. So let me know if you guys are traveling, if you're planning on traveling, if you've set up a journal for it. I'd love to know because I just love travel and I love travel journaling. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!